Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're also paying our humble Dandavat Pranam to Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for providing us this wonderful commentary and translation of Bhagavatam, and following the guidance of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is the guru of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and also Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, are the two gurus of my guru. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has told us that unless we can understand something about Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī through our study of the 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam, then our study has been for waste if we haven't done that. So with this in mind, we are praying to Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī. Yadi sevā-vañcitāḥ yasyāḥ kṛpayā vayaṃ labhema Sarvaṃ prāpnumaḥ prayojanaṃ dhāmni śrī-bhagavat pade Kṛṣṇa-sambandhi sarvaṃ Yadi na jānīmahe tutam Aṣṭādaśasu sahasreṣu ślokānāṃ bhāgavat-oktiṣu Rādhārānīṃ na vindāmaḥ nishphalam bhagavat yayinam Radhikaya kripam vina vyartasyat sarva-pariśramaḥ. If we are cheated out of serving that personality whose mercy awards us everything we need, including residence in the Lord's holy Dham and all things connected to Krishna, and if we cannot understand or discover Rādhārānīṃ within the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, then our study of Bhagavatam has been pointless. Without the mercy of Śrīmatī Rādhārāṇī, all of our efforts are in vain. So we are continuing our reading from Canto 5, the Creative Impetus, Chapter 5, Lord Ṛṣabhadeva's Teachings to His Sons, Text 7. Yadhana pasyatyatha guneham svarte pramata sahasha vipaschit Gata smritir vindati tatratapan ashadya maitunyam agaram agya. Even though one may be very learned and wise, he is mad if he does not understand that the endeavor for sense gratification is a useless waste of time. Being forgetful of his own interest, he tries to be happy in the material world, centering his interests around his home, which is based on sexual intercourse and which brings him all kinds of material miseries. In this way, one is no better than a foolish animal. Purport. In the lowest stage of devotional life, one is not an unalloyed devotee. Anyabilasita sunyam jnana karmadyanavritam. To be an unalloyed devotee, one must be freed from all material desires and untouched by fruit of activity and speculative knowledge. On the lower platform, one may sometimes be interested in philosophical speculation with a tinge of devotion. However, at that stage, one is still interested in sense gratification and is contaminated by the modes of material nature. The influence of Maya is so strong that even a person advanced in knowledge actually forgets that he is Krishna's eternal servant. Therefore, he remains satisfied in his householder life, which is centered around sexual intercourse. Conceding to a life of sex, he agrees to suffer all kinds of material miseries. Due to ignorance, one is thus bound by the chain of material laws. Text 8. Pumsastriya mituni bhavametam tayor mito hridaya grantam ahu ato griha kshetra sutapta vitar janasya moho yamahamameti. The attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine. Purport. Sex serves as the natural attraction between man and woman, and when they are married, their relationship becomes more involved. Due to the entangling relationship between man and woman, there is a sense of illusion whereby one thinks this man is my husband or this woman is my wife. This is called hridaya granthi, the hard knot in the heart. This knot is very difficult to undo, even though a man and woman separate either for the principles of varnashram or simply to get a divorce. In any case, the man always thinks of the woman and the woman always thinks of the man. Thus, a person becomes materially attached to family, property, and children, although all of these are temporary. The possessor unfortunately identifies with his property and wealth. Sometimes, even after renunciation, one becomes attached to a temple or to the few things that constitute the property of a sannyasi. But such attachment is not as strong as family attachment. The attachment to the family is the strongest illusion. In Satya Samhita it is stated, Pramadya yagyavakadya muchante stri sahayina bodhyante ke chanaite sham vishesham cha vidho vidu. Sometimes it is found among exalted personalities like Lord Brahma that the wife and children are not a cause of bondage. On the contrary, the wife actually helps further spiritual life and liberation. Nonetheless, most people are bound by the knots of the material relationship, and consequently they forget their relationship with Krishna. Text 9. Yadha mano hridaya granthir asya karmanubadho dridha ashleta tadha jana sampar ivartate smad Mukta param yatyati hayahetum. When the strong knot in the heart of a person implicated in material life due to the results of past action is slackened, one turns away from his attachment to home, wife, and children. In this way, one gives up the basic principle of illusion, I and mine, and becomes liberated. Thus, one goes to the transcendental world. When by associating with sadhus and engaging in devotional service, this is the purport now, one is gradually freed from the material conception due to knowledge, practice, and detachment. The knot of attachment in the heart is slackened. Thus, one can get freed from conditional life and become eligible to return home back to Godhead. Texts 10 through 13. Hamse guru mai bhaktyānuvritya vitrishnaya dvandva titikshacha sarvatra jantur vyasana vagatya jigyashaya tapaseha nivritya matkarma bir matkataya chanityam madheva sangad guna kirtaname Nirvar samyopasamani naputra jihashaya deha gehatma bodhe adhyatma yogena vivikta sevaya pranendriyatma bijayena sadryak sachstradhaya brahmacharyena shasvad asam pramadena yamena vacham Sarvatra madbhava vichakshanena jnanena vijnana virajitena yogena dhrityudhyama sattva-yukto lingam vyapohet kushaloham akyam. O my sons, you should accept a highly elevated Paramahamsa, a spiritually advanced spiritual master. In this way, you should place your faith and love in me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You should detest sense gratification and tolerate the duality of pleasure and pain, which are like the seasonal changes of summer and winter. Try to realize the miserable condition of living entities who are miserable even in the higher planetary systems. Philosophically inquire about the truth. Then undergo all kinds of austerities and penances for the sake of devotional service. Give up the endeavor for sense enjoyment and engage in the service of the Lord. Listen to discussions about the Supreme Personality of Godhead and always associate with devotees. Chant about and glorify the Supreme Lord and look upon everyone equally on the spiritual platform. Give up enmity and subdue anger and lamentation. Abandon identifying the self with the body and the home, and practice reading the revealed scriptures. Live in a secluded place and practice the process by which you can completely control your life, air, mind, and senses. Have full faith in the revealed scriptures, the Vedic literatures, and always observe celibacy. Perform your prescribed duties and avoid unnecessary talks. Always thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, acquire knowledge from the right source. Thus, practicing bhakti yoga will patiently and enthusiastically, you will be elevated in knowledge and will be able to give up the false ego. Purport. In these 4 verses, Ṛṣabhadeva tells his sons how they can be freed from false identification arising from false ego and material conditional life. One gradually becomes liberated by practicing as mentioned above. All these prescribed methods enable one to give up the material body, lingam vyapohet, and be situated in his original spiritual body. First of all, one has to accept the bona fide spiritual master. This is advocated by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Shri Guru Padashraya, Shri Guru Padashraya. To be freed from the entanglement of the material world, one has to approach a spiritual master. Tad vijnanartam sa gurum eva bhagacchit. By questioning the spiritual master and by serving him, one can advance in spiritual life. When one engages in devotional service, naturally the attraction for personal comfort, eating, sleeping, and dressing is reduced. By associating with devotees, a spiritual standard is maintained. The word Madheva Sangat is very important. There are so many so-called religions devoted to the worship of various demigods, but here good association means association with one who simply accepts Krishna as his worshipable deity. Another important item is dvandva titiksha. As long as one is situated in the material world, there must be pleasure and pain arising from the material body. As Krishna advises in Bhagavad Gita, tam titikshasva bharata. One has to learn how to tolerate the temporary pains and pleasures of this material world. One must also be detached from his family and practice. One must be detached from his family and practice celibacy. Sex with one's wife according to the scriptural injunctions is also accepted as brahmachari or celibacy, but illicit sex is opposed to religious principles and it hampers advancement in spiritual consciousness. Another important word is vigyan virajita. Everything should be done very scientifically and consciously. One should be a realized soul. In this way, one can give up the entanglement of material bondage. As Sri Madhvacharya points out, the sum and substance of these 4 shlokas is that one should refrain from acting out of a desire for sense gratification and should be instead always engaged in the Lord's loving service. In other words, Bhakti Yoga is the acknowledged path of liberation. Srila Madhvacharya quotes from the Adhyatma. Atmano vihitam karma varjayit vanya karmana kamasya cha parityago nirihityahor uttama. One should perform activities only for the benefit of the soul. Any other activity should be given up. When a person is situated in this way, he is said to be desireless. Actually, a living entity cannot be totally desireless, but when he desires the benefit of the soul and nothing else, he is said to be desireless. Spiritual knowledge is jnān vijñān samanvitam. When one is fully equipped with jnān and vijñān, he is perfect. Jnān means that one understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, to be the Supreme Being. Vijñān refers to the activities that liberate one from ignorance of material existence. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.31, Jnanam paramagoyam meyad vijñān samvitam. Knowledge of the Supreme Lord is very confidential, and the supreme knowledge by which one understands him furthers the liberation of all living entities. Thus, knowledge is vijñāna, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.9. Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tatvata tyaktva deham punar janma naiti mam iti sarjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Text 14. Actually, this is where we'll continue on Monday, so we'll stop our reading here today. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev ki jai.
Jai.
Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhaktiveda Vrinda ki jai. Jai Navadvip Dham ki jai, Mayapur Dham ki jai, Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai, Ganga Mayi, Una Mayi ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Giri Gupta Govardhan Dham ki jai, Shyam Kund Radha Kund ki jai, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi ki jai, Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagi ki jai, Scientific Sankirtan Yagi ki jai, Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Nita Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Hari, Jai Śrīmatī Uma Devi Dasi ki jai.
Jai Gurudev. Sri Krishna Prabhu ji ki jai.
Dandavats.